Hi, some of you might recognize me, some of you might not recognize me, but my name is Angie. I worked at Atco Raceway slash Atco Dragway for 15 years under Joe Sway originally, and then for a few years under Len Capone. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about my experience working for Len and the things that I observed and experienced while I was there to shed a little light on exactly what I think went wrong and what did go wrong. This is years past now, but for some reason, Len Capone has decided to poke his greedy little head out of his hole in Florida and make some statements and comments on the old Book of Faces. This video was sent to me many times, and I just wanted to kind of work off of this gentleman's video. Just wanted to go through this gentleman's video from the Dirty Garage. Go give him a follow. A link to his channel will be in the description. He kind of goes through Len's comments, and he kind of has some missing information that I would love to fill in. So without further ado, let's start getting into it.
When Atco closed, there was really no notification. Thank you, goodbye. Effective immediately, Atco Dragway is permanently closed. We will not be open from this point on.
July 18th,
The remainder of our
2023.
schedule for 2023
The
will be
announcement
canceled.
was made.
Thank you all for your patronage and memories over the years. Special thanks to you and our 29th annual Pan American National Racers and Crowd for making Atco's last event the biggest and best.
Most of you are definitely familiar with the Pan American Nationals. It was Atco's biggest event every year, biggest event of the year, super fun event, super chaotic, super moneymaker, and it was 100% a last-ditch cash grab before they closed the gates.
This isn't the end for import racing in the Northeast. All of our staff, we'd like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sticking it out with us and being the best in the business. And with that, Atco closed. 2 years later, I stumbled across a post on Racer's Rant. Len Capone, the owner of the track, the old owner of the track, threw a post up.
So I kind of want to touch a little bit on the way racers and spectators were treated by the Capones. Under Joe Sway, Joe was fair, he was stern, he was very much a father figure to most of the people at the track. There were a lot of locals, very local, even guys that weren't so local, coming from like Philly and stuff, that would come to the track literally every day it was open. Every day. Whether they were racing or not, they were there every time the track was open just to hang out. And over the years of that loyalty, there were people that were let in for free. Let into the track for free. They didn't pay admission. But you know what they did do? They would go buy beers at the bar. They would buy food at the concession stand. They would bring friends with them. Their friends would buy beers. Their friends would buy food. And they still contributed to the track without having to pay the entry fee. It was a sign of respect. Like, hey, man, thanks for coming here and bringing people and spending money at the concession stand. We're not going to gouge you at the front gate. When Len took over, all of that ended. All of that ended. Everybody has to pay to get in. Everybody has to pay to get in. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot there a little bit. You know what I mean? Because, like, the people that were there that would get in for free and come there every day, they stopped coming. They started maybe coming, you know, one race here, a race there. It's not a good look, man. It's not. It pissed a lot of people off right out the gate. Right, first thing. I can't get it. I live a block down the track and I come here every day and I spend money in the bar and I spend money in the concession stand. I buy 50/50 tickets, and now you want to charge me to get in? Forget that. No, I felt that was ridiculous. I told Len that was a bad idea. His response was, "I don't fucking care." But even before that, Susie is the owner. He has meetings with all the employees by themselves. Meet them, talk about them. What do you contribute here? Blah blah whatever. After this round of meetings, I would say 10 people were fired and replaced by Len's family members. Which again, I get. Family owned and operated, makes sense. But it was a jolting transition, and it just set the tone right away, a negative tone. My favorite front gate girl's gone now. The woman who ran the concession stand for 20 goddamn years is gone. Bartender, my favorite bartender, no longer here. It was a downer for a lot of people. It was a downer for a lot of people. A lot of people were really upset. But again, I got that. I understand. You want your family to work here. You want you want to be surrounded by people you trust. I totally get it. But bad step, bad taste, over and over. Not a great start.
The post that I found September of this year from Len Capone kind of shed a little bit of light onto why everything closed. Let's clear this up. I sold all the land. I have nothing to do with any of the property. The track was sold because of all the past problems, mainly with the pine lands from previous owners.
So let's talk about this. He is placing blame on the Pinelands Committee. Now, Atco is built right in the middle of the New Jersey Pinelands, which is protected land. There is a committee that decides what can and cannot be done with the land in the Pinelands. So the track predates this land being protected. Over the years, Joe Sway had tried to do some upgrades and updates to the property and was struck down by the Pinelands Committee over and over and over again. I know many of you remember the issues with the septic system at the track. Joe had every intentions of fixing that septic system, but the Pinelands would not let him dig. They would not let him dig. So these things went unfixed. I remember when we were taking the old tower down, when the new grandstands went up, the old tower went down and the new grandstands went up. That was a huge fight, and the only way Joe was able to get that stuff done is because we had to comply with the American Disabilities Act for the grandstands to have access for people with wheelchairs to get into the grandstands. So that is the only reason why Joe was able to do that, is because we had to be in compliance with the ADA. Fast forward to Len taking over the track. Now, the track was made up of a few different parcels of land. The land to the west of the track was leased to a farmer, I think, or something along those lines. But Len went and cleared the land without any permission from the Pinelands Committee. So to place blame on the Pinelands Committee from previous owner is bullshit. He had beef with the Pinelands because he flattened that land without their permission and was like, fuck them. I remember I was working in the office, and when it happened, he didn't tell anybody he was doing it. And we showed up one day, and that land was all flattened, and said, Len, were you allowed to do that? He goes, no, fuck them. What are they going to do? Okay. I admire it. I admire the balls, honestly. So when it came time to sell the track and all this bullshit about the Pinelands, you fucking created that problem.
Between the Pinelands, the people, the town committee, the police department, rising fees, and not to mention a shutdown, my wife's cancer, the hate from the racers and spectators, not all, but the few was just enough. that, as we see, is still a thing, it was time to sell. Not one racer ever offered to buy the track. Not.
That's a lie. That's a lie. I know that's a lie. I know that's a big fat lie, that no one offered to buy it. No one offered to buy it. That is such bullshit. Such bullshit. Calm bullshit. Now, there were always rumors about Fletcher Cox, the Eagles player, had made an offer. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. But there were offers. They just weren't enough. They just weren't enough.
Even after I told them, if you don't like the way I run the track, then buy me out. Not one person. Companies would call at least 2 times a year.
That was always his big response when people complained or had a grievance. If you don't fucking like it, you can leave or you can buy me out. Not the best customer service, to be honest. It's really, really not great. Not great. To be perfectly blunt, they hated every single one of you. They hated every single one of you. I would watch and listen to Caitlin, and this guy goes on to, Caitlin apparently has commented on this post on Racer's Rant as well. This guy is not familiar with Caitlin, and Caitlin is Len's stepdaughter, Mary's daughter. She would, be totally friendly to people's faces, and as soon as they walked out the door, I fucking can't stand that person. I can't fucking stand that person. Every fucking person.
Also, Joe sold the track first. I kept it open, like it or not. Okay, a couple take.
Like, he did us all some big fucking favor by keeping the track open for a couple years. And it's hilarious to me that he bitches about not being paid for this and not being paid for that. He never, as far as I know, from what I was told, Joe never saw a dime of the money he was owed from them. Joe died because of the stress of not having any fucking money to pay his bills and pay his mortgage. That's what I was told. So the irony of him complaining that he didn't get paid for this, that, and the other thing makes me sick. It makes me want to vomit.
Mr. Capone always claims that he never wanted to sell the track. But then you would see the caveat that
lie detector test determined that was a lie. After the first year of Len owning the track, 1 year into Len's ownership, they put me in the office. They put me in the office to work, to do social media, event planning, all sorts of stuff. And there was rarely a day that went by that Caitlin didn't walk in the office saying something like, I can't wait till we sell this shithole and they build a bunch of houses here. I can't wait to sell this place. I can't wait to get done with this place. And we all laughed thinking she was joking. It wasn't a joke.
Leading up through the year, all the way into that event, nothing was even mentioned of a possible track sale, change of ownership, nothing.
I will say that is relatively normal. When doing big buys and big business deals like this, there is always going to be an NDA. There's always going to be an NDA that you cannot talk about the deal until it's completed. Even when Joe sold the track, not a word was said until the deal was finalized. His own sons didn't even know that he was selling the track. He couldn't say anything. He had to sign an NDA. Totally typical of deals like this. So that I will interject.
That week after the event was over, announced the shutdown, no other activities, total suspension of everything, all the races are canceled from there on out, done.
It was absolutely a calculated move. 100% a calculated
To me, it seems like he just wanted to get that last payday before he left.
100%.
I could be wrong.
100%.
But one gentleman writes, Len Capone, you have the dubious distinction of killing a beloved drag strip. You can blame everyone and make all the excuses, but in the end, everyone will remember you having one last payday and then slamming the gate shut. Mm-hmm. I wish no ill will towards you, but you will not be able to rewrite history on this one. He also claims to be a businessman, which I'm sure he is, and that none of his businesses failed, only this one.
Let's talk about his four businesses. Not surprisingly, from what I know of his trucking business, he made some pretty bad decisions and screwed a lot of people over. I won't name any names, but there is a gentleman I know. He's an older man. He was working for a competing fleet of trucking, a trucking business, and Len was headhunting him as a driver for his business and promised him, "You come drive for me. I will get you, you'll have the best, top of the line, best truck we have. It'll be, that'll be your truck. We'll take really good care of you." And he left his trucking company that he was working for and went and worked for Len, and they put him in the biggest piece of shit truck, didn't pay him what he was supposed to be paid. It ended pretty badly. That's what I was told. As far as I know, he ran that business into the ground.
My way or the highway, whenever you offer a suggestion that he may or may not like, you know there's going to be a big problem. And that seems that that was a big thing with Mr. Capone.
100% accurate. No matter what way you approached him, with whatever concern, you were wrong. You were wrong. Getting a little bit more into how he treated the racers, I want to touch on a little bit with what happened to me personally as an employee. I'll try to sum this up as briefly as possible, but there's a lot of ins and outs here. So most tracks run a bracket program, a yearly bracket program. They have X amount of races a year. Every round you go, you get a point, you get points, and then the top points leaders of each class go on to the bracket finals. Now, in 2014, I believe, I think it was 2014, I was the team captain. Our team won the bracket finals. Our Super Pro champion, Steve Sisko, won the championship. He got to go to California to race for the world championship, and he won. Probably the highlight of my entire career working at the track was representing the team, going out to California with Steve and seeing him get the win. Super exciting, thrilling, still one of the best memories of my life. Flash forward to the next year, 2015. Atco is hosting the bracket finals for the first time ever. First time ever hosting the bracket finals. To me, this is like, it's a huge honor. It's a big, big event. All eyes on Atco. Gotta do it big. Gotta represent our track. So normally the track owners, to celebrate their racers that race there almost on a weekly basis, will put up money for decorations, because the teams, all the tracks of the division, they all have themes. They have a section in the grandstands. They decorate on theme, and there's, awards for team spirit, and it's just supposed to be a big celebration of your loyal racers that race on an almost weekly basis and support your track. In the beginning of the year, I approached Len and, asked him about, bracket finals. It's our year for hosting. We're the previous year's champions. What are we going to do? His answer was, "We do enough as it is. They'll figure it out." I was a little taken back, but I was like, you know what? Fine. Team captain, I said, "Len, can I at least do some 50-50s on points days to raise money, to have stuff for the racers, decorations, t-shirts, all of this?" They didn't even want to give me money to do the team t-shirts. Okay? That's like the bare minimum, is to provide t-shirts for your team on theme with their names on it. Do just something for them. That's the bare fucking minimum. Couldn't even get them to put money up for that. So all throughout the year, while I'm working the event, I have to stop what I'm doing, run around, sell 50/50 tickets, raise money for the bracket finals all year long. Bracket final starts to approach. I get the team t-shirts, I get the decorations, and the week leading up to bracket finals, I'm there every day helping things get set up, working, ordering food, ordering this, ordering that, running around, setting up tents, working my ass off. Now, mind you, and I don't think I've ever honestly told anybody this, but I was working about 80 hours a week there. That final year that I was there. About 80 hours a week. God, now I'm going to cry. They were only paying me $400 a week. And I did it because I loved the track. And I loved the racers. And in hindsight, it makes me feel so gross that I would put my mental health on the line that as much as I did for $400 a week. It was upsetting, and I had asked for raises, and they kind of laughed at me and was like, "Yeah, we'll give you a raise when we can." Sure, it never happened. The amount of hours I put in there was insane, and it just kind of goes to show you how little they appreciate it, the employees and the racers. So bracket finals comes up, and I work my ass off the entire week leading up to it. And I had worked myself so ragged that I ended up getting sick. I had like an upper respiratory infection while the event was going on. And I worked through it. Because that's what you do. And again, one of the things that most track owners supply to their teams is some food. A lunch meat tray, coffee in the morning, maybe a tray of pulled pork for sandwiches. Like, just easy stuff for the racers to come pick at and eat as, again, a thank you for racing at our track all goddamn year long and helping keep the lights on. Because those are big events, yeah, those are the money makers, but without your fucking weekly racers, what even do you have? You know what I mean? Like, it just, those are the diehard supporters. So, as bracket finals are starting, the first day, I paid out of my own pocket to, because I had all the 50/50 money went to the t-shirts. T-shirts are not cheap, especially when you have, I don't know, what is it? It's something like 40 racers or some 40. It's not cheap. I designed the t-shirts myself. Shout out to Amy who printed them for us under pressure. So the first morning I paid out of my own pocket for coffee and donuts for the racers. And I approached Len at the event and said, "Look, can we just get, I don't know, $200 to go to Costco or something, or BJ's, and get a lunch meat tray or a vegetable tray, some vegetable trays and some sodas?" And he looked me dead in the eye. He said, "No, I fucking do enough for these guys as it is." And I was just like, I just kind of shook my head, and I'm like, what? You give them a place to race? Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so great. That's so generous of you that you give them a place to race. You can't just give them a little bit of food? No? And that was the end of the conversation. Now I'm getting mad. Now I'm upset. Okay, and I'm sick. So part of the bracket finals is they have like silly races that get points. One of the events is the team captain race. Um, I am not a racer. I've made some passes. I've done a little bit of racing, but I'm not a racer. I'm more behind the scenes, crew girl, double O shit show. I'm no help kind of person. But I was like, of course I'll do the team. I need a vehicle though. I didn't have a car at the time. I was using one of my dad's cars, and he would absolutely murder me if I raced it. It was like a daily driver. It was like a Buick. He would murder me if I raced it. I think it would explode if I tried to race it. So a friend had offered me their pickup truck to race, but it started getting really late and he had to leave. So I no longer had a vehicle. And the race was I didn't have time to find a car to jump into. I do remember Johnny Breeze offering me his car. But it was like his race car. It was like his race car, and I've never made a pass it before in my life. I'm like, I can't, I'm too scared. I can't. So I missed the team captain's race. I didn't think anything of it, and I was sick. So after the race was done, immediately went home. Flash forward to the next day. I had no money. One of the racers, I don't remember who, had come to me and asked, "Oh, we don't have any no donuts and coffee this morning." I said, "No, I don't have any money to do it this morning." I spent the last of my money on the coffee and donuts yesterday morning. And he said to me, Len's not putting up any money for food or anything?" I said, "No." And I just told the truth. I said, "Len said that he does enough for you guys and that he doesn't have money to get you guys a little bit of food." I said, "I'm sorry. I tried." Now, mind you, these racers have felt disrespected by Len since he came on board. So word spread pretty quick about what I had said about them not putting any money. So later that day, Caitlin, Len's stepdaughter, approached me, and she said to me, "Why didn't you make event shirts for people to buy in the souvenir stand?" I said, that was not my responsibility. My responsibility was the team shirts. I did the team shirts. Why didn't you do event shirts? And that kind of led to an argument that I kind of blacked out of, to be quite honest. And that was like towards the end of the event, and she was pissed because there was no event shirts for them to make money off of. And that just never even occurred to me that would be my responsibility. Once the bracket finals finished up, we were getting towards the end of the races. The weekend was coming to a close. I kind of knew that I was probably going to be in trouble Monday morning after word had gotten out about what I said about Len not putting any money up and the argument with Caitlin about the t-shirts. And I don't know if maybe he knew what was going to happen, but to show gratitude, Steve Everett had gotten a card and had all the racers sign it and write a little message for me. And some racers chipped in money to give to me in the card. And I will never forget that. I will never forget the respect that was shown to me from the racers for everything, and that meant the world to me. So I just wanted to make sure I put this in there. Thank you, Steve Everett, and all the racers that did that for me. It is truly something that stays with me all the time. So, Monday morning comes. I am still sick. I am exhausted. But I still get up and make my way to the office to start getting ready for whatever event was next. And I'm sitting at my desk. And if you remember, if you guys have ever been in Atco's office, you walk in the door, my desk is immediately to the right of the door. The next desk over was Dana, the secretary. There was a little office behind her that Caitlin's boyfriend at the time, he was in that office. Joe Sway, my mentor, a second father to me, he was in his office with the door open. And Caitlin busts in the door, and she looks at me and she goes, "Get your shit and get the fuck out, you're fired." In front of everybody. Did not even have the human fucking decency to take me in an office and speak to me privately. Had to humiliate me in front of the entire office staff. And laughed about it. And smiled. And smirked. As 15 years of dedication just done. I will never forget it. I will never forget it. Nor will I ever forgive it. So that is the story of how I lost my job there. About a week later, I get a phone call from one of my friends. And he says to me, "I heard that you didn't race the team captain race because you were too drunk." I said, "What?" Excuse me? Now, did I party a lot at the track? Fuck yes. Everybody did. Everybody did. But I was so sick at that race that even thinking about having a drink, I was like, no. Oh my God. They were telling everybody that I was too drunk to enter the team captain's race, and that's why I didn't do it. So not only do you humiliate me in front of my mentor and the entire office staff, now you're going to spread rumors about me. I'm still disgusted to this day. Like I said, did I party there? Oh, hell yeah. But that was not the case then. That was not the case that day. And to kind of step off of that to a little side note to that, there were so many times where I just wanted to go home and go to fuck to bed. But Lenny and Caitlin would be like, "Oh no, come on, come to the bar. Everybody likes when you're in the bar and you're so fun and you get everybody in the bar and blah, 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 blah." They would pressure me to stay and party even when I had work the next day because they wanted to get people into the bar. So to sit there and encourage me night after night to come get fucked up and then turn around and act like I was some problem it's just disgusting. It's disgusting.
You have to be able to take the harsh criticisms to make your business better. You may not like them, but you gotta listen. And if you take offense at every comment made by people, you're gonna end up to feel what sort of seems like Mr. Capone, how he felt.
You know who Len Capone is? You know who Len Capone is? And not everyone might get this reference. But does anybody remember Amy's Baking Company from Hell's Kitchen? If you know, you know. But that's who Len Capone was. The haters. It's the haters. The haters are ruining my business.
Caitlin Sabin, she replied in here as well to some of the people making comments. I don't know who she is.
That is Caitlin, Len's stepdaughter.
Yes, we were losing so much money that we bought 2 rotators, a drag machine, had a year worth of glue stocked in glue shortage, and we're guaranteeing 2K payouts every point stay. We had.
So I feel like I see a little through this a little bit. They did in the last leading up to the last year, they did buy a bunch of equipment, but you know what? That equipment's real easy to sell. So knowing that it's their last year, we're gonna put on this big show that we're investing in the track. We're gonna buy equipment and we're gonna glue and we're gonna guarantee payouts. We're gonna try to get as many people in here as possible this last year, and all this fucking equipment will be real easy to just turn around and sell anyway. Smokescreen. It's a total smokescreen.
We had the best junior program. We had the best NHRA attendance in Division One, the best nostalgia program, by far the best import program, and a bunch of other things that I don't remember because it was.
They did not create any of that. They inherited that. They inherited that attendance. They inherited that import program. They inherited all of this success from Joe Sway. They didn't do anything differently to make it better. That was all from Joe Sway. I will say this, like, being the owner and manager of a track is a shit job. It is thankless. It is exhausting. It makes for a pretty miserable day every day. It's just person after person that have a grievance. This guy did this. My dial-in was in wrong. He went deep. We shouldn't be able to go deep in this class. Blah blah blah. There's just every 2 seconds there's someone coming up to you with some kind of complaint. It's not easy. It really isn't. But the way you handle it will make all the difference in the world. And that's where Joe Sway was totally superior in running the track, because he was fair, he heard people out, and he worked towards resolving the issues, or he didn't. But he was firm with you and gave you a reason as to why you can't have your way. But he would always hear you out. With Len, it was just too fucking bad. Too fucking bad. You don't like it, you can leave. You don't like it, you could go race somewhere else. What are you doing? What are you even doing? We don't know what Joe Sway got for the track, or what the offer was for the track. But like I said, I do know that it was never fully paid for. I very much remember Joe's last day at the track. When Len took over, Joe was contracted for 3 years, I believe, to stay on as general manager in the transition period, with the option to stay on after the 3 years. I don't know what exactly transpired, but I do not believe that Joe left on his decision. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I firmly believe that he would have stayed on a little bit longer. But instead, they decided not to move forward with him. Am I right? I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I honestly, I firmly believe that he would have stayed on a little longer. But in all fairness, Joe's cognitive ability was declining. So it really could be either way. But I don't know if I'm just emotional about it, but I feel like it was really hard for him to have to walk away from that track. And I remember the day we had a huge party at his son's house, and we had a huge bonfire, and Joe brought a ton of Atco Dragway merchandise, because under Joe Sway's tenureship as the owner, it was Atco Raceway. And the first thing Len did when he bought the track was change the name back to Dragway. Not really a big deal, but Len wanted to own the copyright for the name Atco Dragway. That was what the track was originally named. Joe had changed the name to Raceway, and under him it was always Raceway. So when Joe was let go, he brought all of his Atco Dragway merch, shirts, jackets, everything, and burned it all in the giant bonfire that we had. And we all cheered and celebrated and whooped and hollered, and we had a really good time that night.
He made a great deal of money. God bless him. But he also left a lot of questions behind when he just abruptly shut the place down. It kind of hurts a racer when you go to a place and dedicate your life for all these years to that track, and then you leave without saying a word. You just shut the doors like nobody else even matters other than you. And that's another thing I think that I can kind of read from Mr. Capone.
And that's another big beef I have with the way this whole situation went down. You could have done the deal and at least have a, going out of business event, or, the last hurrah, and give people a chance to say goodbye to a place that wasn't just a business. It was people's homes. It was generations of families that spent every weekend there and shaped their entire lives around. There were people that moved, uprooted their lives from other areas and moved to Atco to be close to that track. And you didn't even give them an opportunity to say goodbye. That event could have been huge. I mean, you want to talk about making money. How stupid, Len. That could have been a huge cash grab for you, too, on top of Pan American Nationals. Should have secured that bag and given people a chance to say goodbye. I guess you were scared about your safety, maybe.
We lost Atco, we lost Englishtown, which that's another travesty.
That's
and I think a different story than Atco. We have Island Dragway yet.
Shout out to Island Dragway. Shout out to Island Dragway and Melissa up there. She is a fucking real one. And if you aren't supporting Island Dragway, you should be. I will say that. Melissa works her goddamn ass off for that track. And I hope she's doing well. And Melissa, if you see this, I miss you.
We'll have Maple Grove, Cecil County, MIR, kind of in that circle of tracks. We hope they all stay solvent and providing a place for all us drag racers to go for years in the future. The only one I worry about is Island. That's a super small track, great nostalgia track, and I hope they keep things together, make a good go of it, and keep on rolling with the history of that track. It's the last one in New Jersey. I hope they keep it.
So, I do want to add, before we wrap this up, I get it. I do get it. I do get selling the track and getting the hell out of it. The Pinelands were a bitch. Cost of goods, overhead is insane. So I do get it. Motorsports in general is suffering majorly now. People are having a hard time paying their bills and getting fucking groceries, let alone being able to go to the track and spend sometimes thousands of dollars on one weekend. It's not great. It's not great. The hobby has become unaffordable for the average person. So, seeing tracks close more and more, I think is going to be just getting more often. It breaks my heart to say it, but, that's kind of the world we're living in now. And without, getting into politics and everything, it's not a readily available hobby for the average person. It's just too expensive. So I do get it. I really do get it. But at the same time, it's like, fuck you, dude. So if you are within, a couple miles of a track, support the track, man. Maple Grove, Kyle and the Koretsky clan up there, man, they're killing it up there in Maple Grove. It's possible. It's possible to do big things with drag racing still, got to get creative. Kyle and the Koretsky guys, they are killing it up at Maple Grove. The other thing I did want to add is ever since all of this went down with Len and Caitlin and the track closing, it honestly really destroyed my passion for the sport. I haven't really been back to a racetrack since it closed. Maybe once or twice. But with the rumors they spread about me, and, my dad being gone, it killed all passion I had for the sport. And that breaks my heart. And, I don't know if I'll ever come back. They took that from me. And, I'll never forgive them for it. So, I think that's about everything I had to say. I'm a little scared to upload this, to be honest. I know it's going to come probably with a lot of drama. I know, I fully expect Caitlin and Len to come for me. I don't really care. But after seeing this guy's video, I felt the need to kind of get my story out there and, I don't know, I guess confirm everything that you guys already knew. I don't know, that Len's a fucking asshole. I don't know. They never liked you guys. They never liked a single one of yous. And, they couldn't wait. They could not wait to get rid of that property and turn it into a buck. I don't think they ever had any intentions of keeping it as a racetrack. They were just waiting and biding their time for the right offer. And I think it is my personal belief that Len would have rather die than see someone else be a success running that racetrack. I don't think he would ever sell it as a racetrack because he would not be able to stand, quote unquote, being a failure and having someone come in and do a better job than him. I don't think he had any intentions of ever selling it as a racetrack, no. Could I be wrong? Sure. Do I think I'm wrong? No. Not after everything I heard in that office. The constant sayings of, I can't wait to sell this place. I can't wait for this place to be houses. I think that's everything I have to say about it. Rest in peace, Atco Raceway. It will always be Atco Raceway to me. And, fuck Len Capone.